There comes a time in every deity's life, dead mate, where they decide, you know what, I want to take over the world. I want to be the #1 deity. And then he decides to raise an army of the undead, his loyal minions, both dead, alive, and something in between. But the Reaper didn't just start out with an army. He had to earn it, for he had his sights set on the seat of the gods itself, the Temple of Medusa. When is Medusa coming to the game, Landfall? When? But remember that the Reaper had to start because while he could command the dead, he would have to earn the power and allegiance of the living, or I guess, I don't know, that bat. I guess it is living bat, but the ability to transform. So the Reaper needs to control the armies of the dead before he can go forth and conquer the realms of men and the living, and in order to take over Zeus's temple. All the while, the chicken watched. And the moon was made of a Havarti cheese that was delicious and was quite funky. And once the Reaper, the great deity of the dead, maybe even Hades incarnate, earned the vampires and learned to build siege equipment of quite magnificent proportions and powers, he still had to fight the other leaders of the dark arts, the swordcaster, the magicians, and mages of ill repute. They literally put their heads on fire. Most of the other magical community thought that was really weird and just kind of altogether awkward. But you know what? They're here. And I'm not sure how the sword guys are gonna be able to do, because they've taken out most of the remaining foes. Oh god. The Reaper's getting sworded in candles. Oh. This isn't how it's supposed to be. But maybe that's because the army wasn't simply big enough. Maybe there weren't enough fire archers or vampires or skelly warriors running around with their little shields. It's simply to say that you cannot kill what is already dead, even though in Game of Thrones, what do they say? Vlad? What is dead may never die. Yes, thank you, Vlad. You really always wear the teacher's proud nose, so I mean, of course you were paying attention. But when you're dead, you're simply going to raise yourself again. Maybe it's Horcruxes, I don't know. There's all sorts of dark magics practiced all around the world. And really, who greater to have mastered and learned them all than the Reaper himself? This is simply a retelling of the Reaper's experiences. But eventually the Reaper learned to harness the ability to transport himself and his army through dimensions. Because the first dimension protecting the land of Tabstopia has always been the simplest yet fiercest of them all. The tribal faction. They're brave, but you can see that their battle formation, they're not really the most organized. And they still don't really like to get hit in the nuts with fire arrows, but honestly, who really does? The Reaper brought the siege equipment, the Candlemen, the vampires, the swordcasters, which were just so freaking powerful. Like, look at this. This man, he doesn't even need to be able to look straight in order to have pinpoint accuracy. Oh, I don't, every now and then they mess up, but don't worry. When you're the Lord of the Dead, you can simply command what is already dead to come back to life, death, life, dife? Come back to dife. That sounds really weird, and I'm not sure if I really like that made-up word. But there was one who thought they could challenge of the tribal faction. Because although, while not as great in power as the Reaper, wasn't it the Bone Mage that was able to harness the power of what was already dead? Bones to their will? The first practitioners of magic in the Tab's realm? And not only could they harness the bone, but they could even summon and unite, much like the King in the North, all of the tribal savages under one banner to face the ever-present threat of the undead. Oh my god, I love the little bats. Look at this, I've never looked this close. Hello there, love. What? Oh, and then it leaves our sight. Now, I'm really curious to see how fire arrows do against mammoths, but honestly, the Reaper is very difficult to destroy. If he has an army in front of them and there's not enough ranged fire coming in, with his tentacles, with his scythe, with his just sheer raw dark magical powers. Look at this. Oh my god, that almost looks like the mammoth has fire eyes. But this man, this being rather, simply cannot be stopped now that he's on his warpath. And what comes after the tribal faction? Well, who's to feed all of the Tab's dimensions but the farmers? Here they harvest their crops. And the harvest is good, but where and how do they transport their harvest? In an army of wheelbarrows toted by mentally simple creatures known as... I believe they're known as the Derps. But there are the Tabsians here as well. And the Reaper has brought his great army of the dead to conquer these realms. So I'm very curious to see how he is supposed to deal with all of this cavalry. But the skeletons, even though they were absolutely wrecked by this simple and primitive cavalry led by mostly peaceful farmers who are now dispatched and spread around the battlefield. But look at this. This man seems to have either taken inspiration, oh my god, look at that flip he's doing, from the Reaper. Remember, this man isn't original. He's got Bone Mage's powers to control the dead, but a little bit better. And he's like, oh, I like that weapon a little bit the best. It's pretty potent. Maybe the Reaper was this guy in another life. But there goes the Harvester. He is dead. He is dead for good. And the Reaper marches on with nothing to stand in his way. But one must always remember that the farmers have a very good natural defense. The Great River, which... honestly, this is actually used sometimes as the first Tab space program where creatures are thrown out of this and attempted to reach other planets, but don't tell them, but they never do. But the farmers also have children soldiers, or hobbits, and they're led by a very rather mysterious and magical creature themselves. The Scarecrow, and no, I don't mean this one over here. This Scarecrow controls, I don't know, animals. Maybe he's the first Beastmaster in Tabs. And they do have some rather strange... they've experimented in alchemy. They have their potion sellers, but the Reaper, he controls the dead. I don't know if I've said that enough times this video. Oh my god. Some friendly fire pumpkins, but honestly, if you are the Reaper, you don't really care. Because look at how quickly you dispatch them. And all you gotta do, so long as you survive the battle... is, you know, pick up all the bones, put them back together again. Humpty Dumpty could be put together if he was skulls. Oh my god. Ugh. That looks like it hurt. Even the crows passed out in fright. Why is it that in all of, like, Arthurian lore and medieval tales, that outside of the cities and towns there's always a mysterious wood? This one doesn't seem ominous at all. And... members of the clergy decided to go seek and find out and better understand what darkness was in these realms. Look at this! They are upside down and flying. I don't know why they're doing that, but that is absolutely hilarious. The Reaper sent forth the vampiric armies, and we've only seen a few of their chieftains fighting in the battles, and we were wondering why. Well, that's because they went on a raid of the countryside. They found the army that went to go explore where they were studying their dark arts and, oh, I don't know, the mysterious woods, because maybe someone can finally tell me, what is behind this door. Show me! But since it won't unlock, we're left to see this, vampires gorging on the blood of the clergymen and their poor soldiers. When the king heard of this disastrous news, he sent the Knights of the Round Table, supported by a legion of his best men. Why do all kings talk like Emperor Palpatine in our tales? I don't know, but the Reaper was there to meet him at the narrow pass of... what should we call this? What should we call this world that the Tabs people live in? I don't know. The catapults are absolutely destructive on both sides, but look at this. The pumpkin catapult is a little bit more special in that its projectiles will continue to fire. So even though the Reaper's getting absolutely smacked, these pumpkins still go, and look at that. They push and force back the enemy there. The Reaper decided to, you know, go through a portal. Nothing to see here. And the Candlemen, I love the Candlemen. They have that cool ability where they can like not only kill the enemy, but like scare them. Oh, and then there's also fire. And finally, the Reaper found himself sieging the castle itself. And the king decided instead of die to starvation because the dead have nothing but time and don't need to eat, the king decided to come out and fight and lead a grand army. This battle is so epic. It was definitely one of the most deciding battles to determine whether or not the Reaper would be able to conquer all of the tab's dimensions. Because, as you can see here, the king's there. He raised one of the biggest armies ever seen, so big, and remember the technology wasn't as dated, this is the medieval times, that the camera we have could only work in slow motion because there were so many enemies on the battlefield. Keeping up with what's even happening is just absolutely ridiculous. There was an army over here where Mr. Squirrely McSquirrely Eyes dispatched of his enemies. Oh god, I mean, what can really stop this man? This creature, this beast, this practitioner of the dark arts? Well, not a lot. Truly not a lot. Look at that, I love the pink skulls, man. Oh, this update really, jeez! I didn't know he had power of that magnitude. This thing's fully operational. Look at that! Dude, his scythe is like, it's got knockback power that I think would put the mammoth to shame. And as long as he's able to block and, well, I guess block or dodge incoming catapult stones, I'm not sure if much can do it, even though that these practitioners of the light are attempting to stop him. You know what we need is, we need some, like, Holy Order Knights. Like Templar. Knights Templar, Knights of the Order, the Order versus Chaos, right? Oh man, guys, don't look behind you, or do if you want to survive as long as is possible. This was the quickest route of a giant battle since, what was that battle where the British had longbows and the French used crossbows and the British were outnumbered and the British will never let the French forget about that battle? I'd love to know about that one, even though the French won the World Cup. Shh, don't tell anybody. But the king's cousin escaped and went to go talk to... khakis? What is this? My friends, we have Spider-Man. But the king went to go talk to the leader of the Vikings, who had a normal amount of eyes, yes, that is true, and a very fantastic beard, and decided to tell him of the impending doom. I've seen some things. I mean, when you got eyes like that, you've definitely seen some stuff in your life. And the Vikings, while not always tactically brilliant, they definitely fought fierce, but they were always known for having a shield wall, which they decided to implement with, obviously, their half-clothed, absolutely crazy berserkers leading the front lines. And the Reaper decided to keep his skellies, which they're definitely expendable, in kind of a phalanx formation in the front, you know, nice column formation. But even the mighty berserkers were no match for the dark arts. My god, I love watching the Reaper and his giant scythe just deal absolute damage to everybody. Now this is interesting. Are these frost arrows not finding their mark on the Reaper? Does cold? No, okay, he has been hit a few times. And he is slowing down. So clearly, the Viking art of using the powers of the ice, okay. Well, that was interesting. But remember, this is a Song of Ice and Fire, even though we don't have a Game of Thrones mod yet. And we should. We do need one, don't we? Everyone must burn. But as the old saying goes, that death always wins. Well, that's because death can't ever truly be defeated. Now, can it? That entire army was destroyed by the Viking longships, but they simply brought more. What? This berserker is red. What sorcery is this? This skeleton is black. What is happening on the battlefield? Was he black because he was hit with frosty arrows and he didn't really like that? Here's the great Jarl himself getting absolutely wrecked. And look at what we have here. Swords being flung over the battlefield at, just incredibly high speeds. Some vampires literally eating up these guys. Look at that. Oh my god, I love it. Look at him. He's like, I may be cold, but I'm already dead. And the Vikings fell. So too, like the factions before them. But sometimes in order to beat a creature of legend, one must simply bring a legendary creature out to meet him, like the Monkey King. And some very fancy Chinese technology called fireworks, boys! Black powder for everybody! Oh. And samurai are able to block arrows, so, you know, that could be really bad. And if the Reaper takes the Hawacha to the face, which luckily his units are doing a fantastic job at distracting, and I think that might be the funniest thing that we've seen all day. And we have seen quite a bit, because you know the old saying, if you play tabs enough, you'll see something every game, every time, that's a little bit different. Or you'll be like, I've never seen that happen before. And that's the beauty of this game. Oh my gosh. They're not able to block all of the incoming projectiles. Look at this. Even the Great Samurai, when the fire rate is just too quick. But you gotta remember that the Dynasty faction is made up of many different great nations and many factions. Here are the ninjas and the taekwondistas. I wonder how Lady Red Jade's gonna be able to do. Oh my god, I forgot how just brilliant she is with that giant, very kind of cool spear sword, I'm gonna call it. So I wanna see what happens to the Reaper when there's that much shuriken. There's just so much shuriken. I mean, the sensei alone should be able to get out there. Look at how much shuriken the Reaper's already taken in the midsection, and it exploded, and it wasn't, well, it was close enough to knock a significant amount. This almost looks like that opening scene from 300, where they kick all of the Persians into the well, man. Oh, you poor simple man with a candle on your head, which is burning blue. Don't you find that strange? And just like the ninja faction before it, it was the samurai faction's turn to see just how good they would be. Oh, skeletons aren't smart, and I don't think some of these vampires aren't either. Please, please don't step. If you fall in there, which you... Okay, you both decided to do it. Now, this is gonna be interesting. A clash of the titans, quite literally in this case. The Grim Reaper. Oh, wait, is he alive? He's still holding a sword. Oh my god, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta be some broken ribs. I don't care how big you are. That's still an incredible fall. So here we go. Those poor samurai never had a chance. A lot of them, I think they might still be alive, or they were just knocked unconscious and... See, this is part of the Tab Space program. They want to go to Mars too, just like the rest of us. But unfortunately... Oh, well... This is an interesting turn of events. This guy is about to die. Oh, it was a trap! That was actually pretty stinking suave. But you're not the most... You don't have the most finesse with your attacks. Oh my god, it's hard to really tell who's winning. This sword looks like it'd be... Not in a comfortable spot, but there's the old, hit him with the nether region stick. Okay, so the samurai faction could do it. But see, this is what the problem is when you fight death. Death will just come back in the same numbers it just sent. And you, having lost your whole army and being the sole survivor, you'd have to fight round 2 against the very army you just dispatched, and it's gonna be a whole lot harder when you're outnumbered to this effect. You had the numerical superiority, which was pretty surprising. But if you fell in the water, oh my god, yeah, see? Ouch, your fingers are getting chopped off by flying swords, I mean. I am Leonardo da Vinci, and I have a mighty technological army, but don't worry, don't really tick off the Reaper, because he's just gonna bring the biggest army the world of the living's ever seen. And we thought the medieval battle was glorious. Oh my good lord gracious. Those stinking muskets. The army of the living is looking pretty dang good. And with musket power, I don't think there's any catapults left alive. Who is left alive even? There's one catapult left. Those muskets. Excuse me, what is that over on the roofs? Oh, that is the Reaper's flying unit, known as the vampires, who can simply fall down and fly down like bats and even make it over the water. Although not a lot of them were able to do that. I'm sure that was... Look at it. It's raining vampires. Oh, I love it. Now the battle is a little bit different when the attentions of the musketmen are turned all over the place. But these Da Vinci tanks are incredibly difficult to beat. it didn't look like it was able to be done this time either. Oh, geez, Reaper. You can literally just press the rewind button or go back and just build a bigger army because people are dead all over the place and you can just use their bones. Now, this is interesting. Do you think these swords aren't able... Oh my gosh, most of them are hitting this protective bar, so good old Da Vinci in there. Oh, one actually got through. It'd be kind of cool if the only way to kill the Da Vinci tank is to kill Da Vinci himself. I'm actually not sure if it works that way, or if it's got a little bit of hit points. Look at the vampires trying to get in there. This is the funniest thing. They're literally breaking their teeth on this thing. You put some blades on this, and I think the Da Vinci tank might be the best vehicle, the best contraption to fight the armies of the undead, because it's really freaking good so far. Although the vampires are cleaning up everybody. Are there any catapults still alive? I don't think so. So I think it's gonna have to rely on candle power and fire arrows to take them down, but one of the Da Vinci tanks did fall. I love it when you see these units like going for a ride, like they try to grab on like the vampires are biting it, right? Now who's left alive? Oh, apparently there's someone left alive that's falling and the vampires were chasing him down. What is down here, friend? Oh, lack of oxygen. But one of the biggest mistakes that the Reaper ever made was allowing himself and his army to be ambushed by the Pirate Queen and her crew of bomb-wielding pirates, and obviously she's got some fantastic cannons aboard. And even Redbeard himself with his blunderbuss-toting barrelers and harpoon-armed... Oh man, that is a fantastic beard, sir. But being trapped as he is, let's see how well... Oh my gosh, oh gosh. All of the cannons, all of the harpoons, all these bombs going off, we're gonna see absolute chaos. I'm not sure. This army here, well, it looks like Redbeard's crew wasn't entirely ready, and my gosh, is that Redbeard running from battle because he's scared? Is this the Pirate Queen? She's still doing her thing, though. She's still out here. The cannons, oh god. You gotta love, look at this. The Reaper just got hit in the stomach with a cannonball. Not happy about it. But when a skeleton gets hit directly with a bomb or a cannonball, it's the coolest thing because look at all the pieces just flying everywhere. Their death animations is probably one of the coolest. Ready? Boom! Happy New Year! There's bones everywhere, boys. Oh god. Walk the plank? Indeed, sir. That's just, you're not having a good day. You know what? I want some like pirate snipers and I want to put them up here so they go... Hold on. What would happen if we did that? The Pirate Queen is the only one left. The Reaper's over here. Even this guy's actually managing to survive. I guess I was a little bit disappointed that in the pirate update there wasn't some like giant, similar to the mammoth, a giant crab beast. I would have loved to see that. Reaper, did you kill them all? Oh yes! There's Blackbeard and his, clam people? And, but at least his cannons explode. Oh gosh. Yeah, the exploding cannons are probably the best, so Blackbeard and his clam-toting... They're almost like the chicken men, although a lot of them are getting their butts kicked right now. The clams... It's almost like the clams are necromancers in their own right. They summoned the armies from the deep. All of the clams that would be under these ships are now fighting for Blackbeard himself, and I guess the shaman of the clams? It's really kind of funny, all the magics. Oh god, Blackbeard, where'd you go? Are you... Oh, Blackbeard. Buddy, that's not where you want to be. Yeah, you take that nap. Have some grog, have some rum. Extra rum rations for you, Blackbeard. You'll wake up with a little bit of a hangover. Hopefully you won't have died. And look at these cannons. I love the cannons, man. It's really cool. I wish there was like vehicles. Oh, is that the way it was? Blackbeard and his exploding cannons were the difference maker. The only chieftain still alive is the sword thrower, and I don't think the Pirate Queen here is gonna be able to... Oh, jeez. A fantastic shot. So Blackbeard would have turned the tide, but you know what? He forgot to show up. But it was finally time for the Reaper to siege the great temple city of the gods itself. And so, the gods summoned their greatest champions, while the gods themselves looked up and I guess tried to hide or bite the hip of a statue. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but that is of no concern, for the siege has begun. Gentlemen, this is the final battle to see if the Reaper can dominate the land of the living. And oh my gosh, an ice giant is like, his hair's on fire. I think his pets' heads are falling off. It's just all manner of just dangerous and doom. And look at how many swords. Just, oh my god. A death by 1,000 cuts is given an entirely new name. And here's Zeus and Artemis. They're learning how to use steps, apparently. And look at this. They're like, oh hello, we're finally here. Zeus, you really should have been near the front of the battle, but you're up there on your ivory citadel looking down on all the simple mortals, laughing at them, turning into eagles and messing up with everybody. You know, it's just like, the gods always mess with everybody, but we have a new leader. Where is he? He's somewhere here. Well, there you have it. The Reaper has ascended the throne. Artemis and Zeus are back because I guess they're gods. And can you kill gods? I'm not sure. But I think this is all to say that really we just need more mythological gods in this game. Anyway guys, thank you for watching another episode of Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. Hope you did enjoy it. Let me know what you'd like to see in the next one. If you have any custom battles, leave them in the comments below. And we need new units. I'm voting for Medusa. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.